It's TEDA time.
Living in Terrebonne, living in Terrebonne. You sure won't want to miss it, and I'll bet that you'll revisit living in Terrebonne.
Local Terrebonne Parish Economic News.
Hello and welcome to this edition of TEDA Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. We're always glad when we have TEDA Time to welcome in our friend and colleague, Mr. Cohen B. Guidry. Cohen, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again, and
Thank you.
Great to be back.
I like that. I appreciate that. I like our time away. The absence makes the heart grow fonder.
It makes us appreciate one another.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and we get to see each other in the community all the time.
Yeah.
And honor and credit to what you do and how you do it in this community where we see each other so often at these functions and events. So
It's
really
all
a big deal.
important. It really is.
It really. I could not agree more. In the roles that we have, both being able to be out and do that, and so we've wasted enough time.
Yes.
We also welcome in Ms. Christy Zarang. Christy, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Of course, Chief Operating Officer, South Louisiana Economic Council. And so, Cohen, we're very, very glad that you always find really interesting ways and partnerships to kind of share what we're doing to really make a difference for economic development in the area.
And as you and I discuss all the time, partnering with different groups, but this one's a bit special because they are our regional support line. So, a lot of people, and that's one of our goals and objectives for 2024 is to better educate. That's, since I've come to TEDA, is better inform the public of what a TEDA is, because I asked that question before.
What's a TEDA?
What is a TEDA? But now that people are recognizing what TEDA is, what do we do? And there are upline support. There are regional EDO, which I won't steal any of Christy's thunder. I'm going to let her take over from that point. But another partnership,
Right.
very, very important one.
Right. And quite frankly, learning and getting that support from above is huge.
Yes.
It allows us to do what we do, and people do know what TEDA means, and they're quickly figuring out how TEDA makes a difference in the community. So that's a good thing. So Christy, tell us a little bit more about how you help him.
Well, SLEC is one of 8 regional economic development offices in the state.
Okay.
So we cover the Bayou region, and
The best region.
Absolutely, I agree. That's Assumption, Lafourche, St. Mary, and Terrebonne in alphabetical order only, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we finished with the best, and that's okay.
And Cohen and I, of course,
Right.
Cohen and I partner together all the time for different, retention visits, recruitment calls, just anything going on in the community, especially for Terrebonne, but I also handle the other 3 parishes as well.
Well, fortunately, in the way that we do things down here, it's something that I'm so very proud of for law enforcement and for how we do things parish to parish very often means that we're working together. And that's another one of those areas that people, they don't do it that way all over the state, probably don't always do that all over the nation. But down here, we like to be able to partner with our next door neighbor because we know we can get a whole lot more done if we do.
And I'm not sure if we always did that, but we did. We broke down the fences and got rid of the kingdoms, and I think it's fantastic. You double your resources, triple your resources, and we had that much more power going forward with rolling mass to get things accomplished.
Yeah, because, I mean, much like law enforcement, things cross those boundaries,
absolutely.
right? Because we can be helping people in other parishes while we're helping ourselves. And quite frankly, we can get a whole lot more support along the way.
And if I could just get on my soapbox a minute about
Please.
about regionalism,
Okay.
For those of us in the economic development world, we hear a lot about GNO Inc. or BRAC or One Acadiana. Well, these are all the other larger regional economic development organizations that I mentioned. There's 8 of. Well, the Bayou region can be one voice, one collective, collaborative voice if we all come together. We should be and will be the GNO Inc. of the Bayou region when we all come together.
Right. And we can achieve so much more if we're doing that together. If we're not trying to kind of, and I want to use these words, but steal, I want this program before they get it, or I'm trying to get this money before they do, or why don't we talk about and share?
I think something that's very important is Christy is just coming in to SLEC, and she'll be taking over. And I don't want to steal her thunder, but I think that's important for the public to know. And when they ask the question, well, why haven't they been working in that one unified group? She's going to be the catalyst and the mama to make it all happen, and we're going to support her to make sure it does happen.
Well, then we'll start with Happy Mother's Day on the mothering of this project and how that comes to be, and Mother's Day as well that we celebrated here recently. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, Cohen, because I think, quite frankly, it's one of the things that we look forward to. You know, it's that synergy versus entropy, right? That synergy where we're bringing programs together instead of entropy where we're breaking things apart. Mm-hmm. I think that there's that mindset. You've had it coming in, right? Where, hey, people at least need to know what is a TEDA, right? And then secondly, people need to figure out what does TEDA do. And we've been helping. This has been one of those formats where we help educate and let people know. But more importantly, we're letting them know how we're ebbing and flowing better.
Right.
How we're getting more programs that are coming in, how we're saying, hey, Chris, we really need this. Can you do this for us? Can we do this together? And that's what y'all partner together to do. And that's the excitement, I think, of new people coming in and going, oh, man, that older way that we did things, I wonder if there's maybe a better way. And so that's exciting. And so as we move forward, we said we wouldn't steal your thunder, but we keep doing that. It seems we have a tendency of doing that. But we'll look a little bit more into how we can become a little more synergistic from above, from below, and what people need to know. We'll do that when we come back. Is that all right?
Great.
Very good. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, right here on TEDA Time.
I told you.
TEDA Time.
Tune in to HTV10 for some TEDA Time. On this show, you will learn what's going on in Terrebonne Parish with Cohen B. Guidry and all of his special guests that he brings along.
Local Terrebonne Parish economic news.
Hello, and welcome back to this edition of TEDA Time. Very glad you're joining us. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much. Glad to have Cohen and Christy with us, talking about partnerships, talking about making things better. And that's just kind of one of those things that you were able to do. It looks like you guys are kind of going to echo a lot of what's important about evaluation and then building.
It is. June will be 2 years that I've been with TEDA, and I guess I've taken the last 2 years to start building our foundation. We've got a lot of new board members,
right,
and getting better knowledge, building relationships, just basically building our foundation correctly so it's going to support everything that we start building up with. Mm-hmm. And I think with Christy coming into the taking over of SLEC, she's going to be facing the same things, but she's got a great level of support with all of the economic development people that'll give her the support and help her along the path with it.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm in a very similar situation. You're just 2 years ahead of me right now, Cohen. I came in October, and I'm replacing Vic Lafont as the CEO of SLEC. He's been the CEO for 35 years.
Yeah,
so
I know his name.
I'm learning from a legend, and
Yeah.
he laid a great foundation. And it's just a different time in economic development now.
Right.
So I can take his foundation and build upon it. So we're building our board of directors, we're rewriting bylaws, and it's really a time of growth and energy. And I'm really excited about the direction that we are taking. And we've put a lot of time and effort into a strategic action plan for SLEC, and that's basically my role is to carry out that strategic action plan. So there's about 116 goals on that. So I'm taking a bite of that elephant one day at a time, and we'll get there. But it's broken down into 7 different categories, and there's near-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. So it's everywhere from hiring me all the way to, hopefully winning some awards on economic development levels out there.
That's certainly what we want. And so, Aaron, I appreciate that. Put that back up one more time, if you don't mind. Let people know exactly what we're talking about. 4 different parishes, the best for last, which we appreciate. Whether you did that in alphabetical order or not, we see how that goes.
And
But
Keith,
very
I'll-
proud of all four.
I'll say don't get too used to that logo because one of the things that
One
we're
of the
going to be
116?
doing,
Okay.
we're going to be rebranding, and if that means a new name, then so be it. So
Okay.
we're going to be surveying some people to find out what exactly they are wanting and needing from a regional economic development organization. Then that'll drive the direction and even the logo.
Okay, very good. I like that. Now, y'all have had some success here of some events. Let's talk a little bit about those here recently.
So May 1st was Industry Day for Louisiana. We went to the state capitol, and SLEC hosted 2 events.
Okay.
And I think we have some photos of those events. But one was a breakfast at the state capitol that was sponsored by the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. And we had our parish leaders there, some stakeholders, our board of directors, and of course our local delegation downstairs at the Capitol for a breakfast. And then we moved on to the Lamoga House, Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association House. And that luncheon was sponsored by the H to the Future grant. And again, we had more industry leaders. I was really proud of the associations, the industry associations that showed up for this.
Okay.
So we have 3 in the 4-parish area. That's SCIA, South Central Industrial Association,
Right.
Bayou Industrial Group, and then there's a Chafalaya Intracoastal Coalition in St. Mary.
Okay.
And we had board members and the directors of all 3 of those associations there, along with our parish presidents and our board members and our local EDOs were there as well. So it was a great day. It really showed solidarity for the entire Bayou region.
Well, when something's important, you show up. And it was very clear that this was very important to all of those people. And that's just really nice. It says there's a level of respect coming in to what you've got going on, right? And what's
Yes.
happening at that state level.
Yes, and we do have some great momentum behind us right now. Like I said, I came in October, and it was a slow start for me just because I was a bit overwhelmed with that big strategic plan. But since then, I think, Cohen, don't you think we've really come together and been doing a lot of collaboration?
Absolutely.
And
More
pulling
so-
people together.
More so than I've seen prior to you coming on board. And I'm not just tooting your horn, but I really have. I've seen a big shift from the way our involvement and collaboration was, just a year ago until the last 9 months.
So there's a little more distance before.
Oh, yeah, it was a smaller, less organized group than what you have now.
And
You
I'll say
It's
to
almost a
that
call to arms.
also, there's also a resurgence at the state level. We have a new
a good
Secretary
point.
of Louisiana Economic
Oh,
Development.
that's right. Okay.
Miss Susan Bonet Bourgeois. And so she came in and basically just started tearing down the curtains everywhere. And I really appreciate that and kind of echoed the same thing when I got into SLEC. Let's pull down the curtains and everyone just start working together and sharing information and let's work together.
What a great analogy, because when you tear down the curtains, you let the light in.
Yeah.
And really, it seems like there's this fire, if you will. There's this light that says, hey, let's start moving forward. Let's, it's like coming out of the dark. There's this.
And I think with some of the new blood from local levels all the way to the state level, people are motivated to get things done, and they're going to have support from the bottom to the top and all the way around. That's so important to be able to do your job.
I like it. Speaking of getting things done, we got this one done as well. We're going to do this one more time, and we're glad you're joining us. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. A whole lot more TEDA time. We continue.
TEDA time.
Tune in to HTV10 for some TEDA time. On this show, you will learn what's going on in Terrebonne Parish with Cohen B. Guidry and all of his special guests that he brings along.
Local Terrebonne Parish economic news.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of TEDA Time. Very glad you're joining us, and your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. We appreciate it. Very glad to have Cohen and Christy with us. Of course, Cohen with our local TEDA office, and with Christy with the SLEC. which we're not sure if it'll still be named that here soon. But there's some really good positive changes, but we certainly appreciate all the effort and work that was done to get these positions in these organizations where they got to before both of you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's, the people before us blazed a trail that kind of made our coming in behind them a little easier.
Yeah.
So, we have to remember what they did for us and clear the trail out for us
Right.
to be able to make way.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's always good to have a good starting point. So again, making sure that we appreciate that and move forward. So that's a good thing. And so we've seen kind of some of the things that have been done. We've got some really good things on the horizons, right? I'm sure they're all in the 116 of those. But you got one of those. I mean, you started, so we're down to 115.
Yes.
We had all of these good things that are coming. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you have plans for.
Well, I've actually been doing a little bit of advocacy for the region. I'll be flying into DC next month for what's called the Shores Fly-In. Now, government loves acronyms. Shores is sharing offshore revenues from energy sources.
Oh, wow.
And that's really important to this region. We know that from royalties and offshore lease sales, that's where we get the Go Mesa funding.
Yep.
And from Go Mesa, we fund CPRA, and CPRA helps to save our coast. So it's definitely an important fly-in, and I hope to really make an impact when I meet with the delegation there. But that's one of the things that is one of the 116 items. But additionally, we have a big event coming up, and that's in August. So last year, SLEC did their first Bayou Business Summit, and that was held in March. And that's where we had panel discussions, and then they also rolled out the strategic action plan
Right.
to the 200 or so people that were in attendance to let them know what's coming. And this year, we'll have again panelists. Our keynote speaker is Secretary Susan Bonet-Bourgeois, who is going to be giving us a talk about the restructuring of LED.
Okay.
And then we're going to move into panel discussions. We'll have an update from our 4 parish presidents. We have another section on everything energy. We have one on workforce and one on resiliency. And that's going to be August 29th at the Barry Beauvalin Houma Civic Center. We are really excited about that, and we're going to serve lunch. So we're putting information out soon on both the sponsorships and the tickets for that. But it's going to be a great event. And I'll also get to give an update on some of the projects that we have completed from the strategic plan and what's immediate and what's to come.
Right. And again, that's over in August, and we've got lots of things that will get accomplished. We're hoping a number of the 116 come off.
That's right.
Right, to be able to check off. But this is one of the big ones, right? This is the one that's in multicolor checks about getting done because it's so important. And it's going to take place right here in Houma and Terrebonne Parish.
Exactly. So last year, the event was held in Thibodaux at Nicholls State University. And this year, we definitely want to show some love and share the message across all of the parishes. And so we've chosen the Houma Civic Center. Next year, we may move into Assumption or St. Mary, but it's all about bringing folks together. They can network. We're going to have booths for visitors and incredible speakers.
Yeah. And again, we're going to be able to push that information out as we do TEDA time pretty often. We want to make sure that we can let people know. Yeah. So we'll continue to kind of share that. And just the invitations, we want to make sure that people are really getting involved in that. And those who want to really come together and go and find out what the vision is, right? What you're looking forward to doing and how we're going to partner here in each of the parishes to be able to do that. Last year, exciting. Last year's event?
Last year was great. It was, like I said, there were 200 people there, if not more. And it was probably the first event that SLEC put on to, of that magnitude for the 4 parish areas, getting all of the business leaders. And I'm talking the leaders of these businesses. And so we plan to do that again. We're bringing in Stephen Swiber, who is the Chief Resilience Officer for the Governor's Office. He'll be there. We have moderators that are really going to ask some tough questions of the panelists for those 4 topics. And I'm excited about giving that update for the strategic plan to let people know where we are in this process. The transition from for Vic retiring, like I mentioned, after 35 years is going to happen at the end of the year. So I want to hit the ground running in January, and I think I have a pretty good running start now with the help of our local economic development offices like Cohen.
Yeah, very
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and so again, you know, I know that if there's any word we beat to death, it's partnership. But quite frankly, it doesn't work without it.
No.
No, it doesn't.
We can't do everything ourselves. We need to be able to rely on each other's and know that they have our back and we have theirs. It's a trust. It's a relationship. It's true. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's something that you have to believe in.
Yeah, and you work on it, right? It's like
absolutely.
any really good relationship. It's got to be a
Absolutely.
two-way street. You got to both be working on
It
that.
doesn't start in one day, and it eternally grows and matures and everything else. And you
Yeah.
pick up right where you left off from the last time.
Well, you get to see where in the 116 where you fit in. Get to see. You know, hopefully you're at least more than a fourth of that, being part of the 4 parishes. Well, Chris, thank you for your energy, your excitement. Congratulations on the role, and as Cohen said, mothering this project as we move forward. So we're excited about that. Cohen, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment of TEDA Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.